You weren't abandoned. You were protected.
This wasn't a ghost story. It was a truth buried for decades.
Why does this feel like it's about me?
Where are you right now? And is it past midnight where you are? Go ahead and drop it in the comments. But before you do, listen closely to the silence around you. What would you do if, in that silence, you suddenly heard a whisper that only you could hear? Think about it and let me know your answer below. Because tonight, we're diving into a true story that will make you question everything you think you know about whispers in the dark. This story comes from a woman named Hannah. She shared it anonymously online, much like those chilling Reddit stories that keep us awake at night, scrolling on our phones under the covers. Hannah's life, on the surface, was perfectly normal. She was adopted as a baby by a loving couple who gave her everything she could ever want. A stable home, a great education, a life filled with laughter and warmth. She felt loved, cherished, and complete. But there was one thing, a tiny, persistent thread of strangeness that had woven itself through her entire life. A secret she kept locked away since she was a little girl. It started in her childhood bedroom, with its glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling and a closet door that was always kept slightly ajar. Every night, just as she drifted into that hazy space between being awake and falling asleep, she would hear it. A whisper. It wasn't a scary voice, not something from a horror movie that made you want to scream or hide. It was soft, almost like a breath of air, and it always said the same thing. Just 3 simple words. You weren't abandoned. As a child, she thought it was her imagination. Maybe a dream starting before she was fully asleep. She'd told her parents once, and they'd hugged her, assuring her it was just her mind playing tricks. As she grew into a teenager, the whisper remained her constant, secret companion. She tried to rationalize it. Was it the house settling, the wind whistling through a crack in the window frame? She'd press her ear against the pillow, trying to pinpoint its source, but it was never outside her. It was always inside. A thought that wasn't her own. You weren't abandoned. By the time she was in her 20s, living in her own apartment in the city, the whisper had become a part of her routine. It was as normal as brushing her teeth before bed, but she started noticing a pattern. The whisper didn't come every single night. It only appeared on the nights she felt a profound sense of loneliness. After a tough day at work, or when she scrolled through social media and saw pictures of big families gathered together, a familiar pang of otherness would hit her, and in that vulnerable moment, just as her eyes grew heavy, the whisper would arrive, like a gentle reassurance from an unknown source. You weren't abandoned. She confided in her closest friends one evening. They listened, but their reactions were mixed. One friend laughed it off, suggesting she was just stressed and needed a vacation. Another, more seriously, recommended she'll see a doctor. So, Sedith. She sat in a sterile, white office and explained the recurring whisper. The doctor was kind, but clinical. He diagnosed it as an auditory hallucination, likely triggered by stress and her subconscious processing of her adoption. He prescribed medication to help her sleep more deeply, to quiet her overactive mind. Hannah took the prescription, but never filled it. Deep down, she didn't believe her mind was broken. The whisper didn't feel like a symptom. It felt like a message. Sometimes, the tone of the whisper would shift. Most nights, it was soft and loving, a comforting blanket in the dark, but on rare occasions, it felt different. It felt like a warning. One night, she was considering a spontaneous trip with a new group of friends she barely knew. She was excited but had a nagging feeling of unease. That night, the whisper was sharper, more insistent. You weren't abandoned. It was enough to make her pause. She ended up canceling the trip, and later found out the group had gotten into some serious trouble. It was a close call. Was it a coincidence? Or was the whisper protecting her? This brings me to a question for you all. Be honest. What do you believe these kinds of experiences are? Are whispers, like Hannah's, just our imagination running wild? Our brains creating stories to cope with stress and loneliness? Or could they be something more? Echoes of memories we can't consciously access, Messages from a place we don't yet understand. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe it is imagination? Or is it memory? Years went by. Hannah learned to live with her secret. She stopped trying to explain it to people and accepted it as a unique, unexplainable part of who she was. The whisper was her shadow, her guardian, her ghost. She never pushed to find her birth parents. Her adoptive family was her world, and she didn't want to disrupt the peace and love she had always known. She was content, or so she told herself. Then came one cold, rainy Tuesday night. Hannah was in her late 20s, feeling an urge to declutter her life. She decided to tackle the one place she always avoided, the large walk-in closet in her bedroom. It was filled with boxes from her childhood home, things her parents had packed for her when she moved out. Trophies from high school sports, old photo albums, forgotten teddy bears. She spent hours sorting through memories, laughing and cringing at her younger self. Finally, at the very back of the closet, tucked behind a stack of old yearbooks, she found a small, unassuming cardboard box. It was sealed with yellowed tape and had her name, Hannah, written on top in her mother's familiar handwriting. She didn't remember this box at all. Curiosity piqued. She sliced the tape open with her house key. Inside, the box was sparsely filled. It didn't contain toys or trinkets. Instead, resting on a bed of tissue paper were just a few items. A stack of old, official-looking documents, a single, folded letter, and a tiny, faded plastic bracelet from a hospital. Her heart began to pound in her chest. She picked up the documents first. They were her adoption papers. She'd seen them before, but she scanned them again, her eyes catching on the official stamps and signatures. Then, she picked up the hospital bracelet. It was so small, it could only have fit a newborn's wrist. It had a blank space for a name, and on it, written in faint blue ink, was a name she had never seen before. But what made her blood run cold was that the name had been forcefully crossed out with a black marker. Underneath the bracelet was the folded letter. The paper was thin and delicate, the creases worn from being folded and unfolded many times. With trembling hands, Hannah carefully opened it. The letter was handwritten. The ink slightly faded, but the words were clear. It began with a sentence that stopped her breath. "My dearest, if you're reading this, it means I've failed to protect you quietly." Her mind reeled. Protect her from what? Quietly. What did that mean? Her eyes darted back to the page, desperate for answers, for context, for anything that would make sense of the storm brewing inside her. And then, she read the next line. The letter trembled in Hannah's hands. The handwriting was elegant, but the words were a tidal wave, pulling her under. It was from her biological mother, and the first sentence shattered everything Hannah had ever believed. "I didn't abandon you, my love. I hid you." Her biological father, the letter explained, was a man woven into a web of violence and power. He was dangerous, unpredictable. To keep a child with him would have been a death sentence, not just for the mother, but for the baby. So she made an impossible choice. She gave Hannah away, not out of indifference, but as the ultimate act of protection. Giving her up had saved her life. Suddenly, the whispers made sense. They weren't ghosts. They weren't supernatural warnings from beyond the grave. They were memories, faint, fragmented echoes from a time before she had words. The soft murmurs of a mother cradling her baby, whispering words of love and reassurance into a tiny ear. It was the sound of safety, the sound of a promise being made in the dark, a memory her heart had kept long after her mind had forgotten. The whispers weren't something she heard. They were something she remembered feeling. Love, imprinted on her soul before she could even form the word. Do you think love can leave a memory like that? A mark on us, before we even have language to understand it? Tell me what you believe in the comments. I'd love to know. As Hannah continued to read, more of her life clicked into place, like pieces of a puzzle she never knew she was solving. Her mother hadn't just disappeared. For years, she had watched from a distance, a shadowy figure in the back of the auditorium during school plays, a face in the crowd at her high school graduation, tears hidden behind sunglasses. She was always there, a silent, guardian angel, never interfering, never revealing herself, but always always protecting. This whole time, Hannah had thought she was living in a ghost story. She thought she was being haunted, but she was wrong. This wasn't a story about fear. It was a love story, disguised as a haunting. The fear she felt was just the echo of a profound, life-saving love she was too young to comprehend. The whispers weren't a warning of danger to come. They were the lingering proof of the danger she had escaped. Hannah doesn't hear the whispers anymore. The silence that once terrified her is now a source of peace. When she lies down in her bed at night, the darkness doesn't feel like a threat. It feels like a blanket. Calm, lass. Safe. Protected. She finally understands. Some stories aren't meant to scare us. They're meant to explain why we survived. Was this story scary for you? Or did you find it comforting in the end? And should I share more bedtime style, true stories like this one? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for listening.